Rahubat everybody. Having a little talk here about Corona. You know what I mean? There's so much going on. I think it makes sense for us to have a little discussion about what we know and what we don't know about what this thing really is, man. And talk about the possibilities of what it could be. Because to be honest with you, I ain't got a solid answer as to what it is. So hotep everybody that's going to tune in and supporting my YouTube page. I need y'all support. I'm going to spend less time on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, and more time on my YouTube page. So I need you guys to push it. Amen to the ancestors, those that are guiding and protecting us now. But coronavirus is the topic of the day, so we must discuss it. Let me just plug my book for all of you out there that's already got Treasures in the Sand. My first book, TZT Publications. Well done to yourselves and respect. Towel hat for your support and that. For all you guys that ain't got it yet, you're slacking. Get on Amazon. Yeah, if you got a Kindle, get it on your Kindle. Get on there and support us, man. Because as you can see right now, a lot of things are going on. It's time to tear down the old order and build a new world. Anyway, as the lovely Persian's going to elaborate, we are going to discuss what's happening in the world with this virus. So without further ado, kick off for us. Throw the questions at me. Let's dissect this thing, man.
Okay, so give us your opinion on where Corona has come from and what the word means, Corona.
Yeah, let's start with what the word means, because let's not forget that for the last 6,000 years, humanity has been under a spell. So we think that we started from like primitive people, caveman people, and then over 6,000 years we came up to what we are today. But there's an alternative to that. We were smarter. Like if we go back past 4,000 BC, 6,000 years ago, we was already smart. We already passed this stage of intelligence where we're at now. So what I'm going to say first is, if you want to discover anything, you got to go to what the word, how it's spelt and what it means, and trace it back to its most furthest back origin. So if we're going to say corona, yeah, which is a Latin word, and corona as a Latin word means sun or solar, or in another sense, crown. So like when you see a solar eclipse and you see the moon block out the sun, and then you see, because the sun's bigger than the moon, you're going to see around the edge of the moon is like a halo. It's like the rest of the sun that the moon can't block. That's called the sun's corona, or the sun's crown. Yeah, just like you have a link to your crown chakra. So to me, when you're saying coronavirus, you're highlighting all of that stuff that I just said. So for one, there's a link with the sun in there, because we know, I've been putting it in the forum for about 2 years, no lie, since about late 2017, that the sun goes through cycles, because it's both electric and magnetic. So for a number of thousands of years, or a number of time, yeah, it's fucking electric. It's working off of electrics. And then for the next 6,000 years, it switches to magnetism. So we've just gone through one of them switches now, where it's on, when they were saying December 2012 is the end of the world, December 21st, 2012, they made a big movie about it, and that there was on about the reality of that was the sun went into another cycle. So when the sun goes into another cycle, or the new solar cycle, or what the Aztecs call the fifth age of the sun, it's going to go back into a magnetic kind of sun, and that's going to have an effect on all the beings in this whole solar system, because that's why it's called a solar system. So when you say to me coronavirus, although I want to believe that it's a man-made thing and they try to lock off humanity and shut down the world and that, a part of me thinks it might not be as man-made as we think. There might be something more to it. So I'm leaning towards, because there's evidence to say, they've stated on the news that this thing's mutated. They're saying coronavirus as a virus has been with us for time. As you can see in The Simpsons and whatnot, they already had the shit. Do you understand? But what they're calling the COVID-19, they're saying is a mutation. That's what the media is saying. That's a whole different thing, because they're saying the coronavirus, although it's always been here, it never attacked humans. But all of a sudden now there's a strain of it that's attacking humans. So
what's your opinion?
They've called that, hold on, I'm not finished. They've called that strain COVID-19, the one that attacks humans. Now, a virus is, as you've seen in the post we made on Facebook earlier, is a coded bit of information that's come to distort or erase or corrupt an older or a previous type of data. Now, this whole world works off data, and also the human body works off data. We work off a binary system, just like computers work off a binary system. There's all ones and zeros. That's how we can come in and invent computers and stuff. It's really based off us, our brain and everything. So what I'm trying to say is, that virus, if the corona thing is a virus, there's something it's come to destroy. We can say, okay, it's come to kill humans, but it's not as flat as that. Because as you can see, black people ain't being affected as, or I should say melanated people, black people, Asian people, South American people, are not really being affected in the same. I'm not saying they're not affected at all, because there'll definitely be exceptions to the rule. But I'm saying they're not being infected in this pandemic kind of way, that when I say white people, I'm not just talking about Caucasians, I'm talking about people who don't have melanin. That means the same genetic strain. So I'm saying there's something in nature that's making that disease attack a certain type of people. So in my opinion, you're asking what's my opinion of the coronavirus. I believe they created something that got out of control, and it's out of their hands now. It's like in the case of, you decided to go and fight someone, yeah, but you didn't want to fight the friend because that friend's your friend. But now you fighted him, that friend's not backing you, they're backing him. So now you have to fight the friend even though you didn't want to fight the friend. It's out of your hands. So I'm saying for these people that made this coronavirus, because in my opinion, that Agenda 21 is the Illuminati's plan to wipe out a certain amount of millions of humans. Yeah, that's their plan. They're going to wipe out a certain amount of humans before 2030. Yeah, and right now they're behind. They're not up to date in their schedule. They're not killing enough people. And then you got to look at it like this. If we go before the coronavirus, what was happening? They was on the news and on Facebook telling us, yo, you have to have vaccinations. Because nobody's having vaccinations no more. Because nobody believes. Because everybody's going on social media. And social media is chatting all this shit about vaccinations and scaring people. So now you got a whole bunch of people in society. I'm talking about white people, because society don't move unless white people move. So white people have stopped taking vaccinations. White mums and stuff, they're like, fuck that, I'm not giving my kid no vaccination. I've heard this, I've heard that on Facebook. So now that's moved society, because it's on the fucking news, daytime news. They're saying, nobody's taking vaccinations no more, and it's going to like damage society, because if we ain't got enough people vaccinated, we ain't going to have a protection against the disease. And that's why you have people saying, oh, well, that means the vaccinations don't work. Because if it worked, you won't have to have everyone else to have it. But even though that makes sense in our world, it does work like how they say. They have to build up a certain type of immunity in their population, so that when the disease comes and hits the population, because most people have got immunity to it, the disease can't really damage the population. But if you've got people who haven't had the and I'm not saying this to support vaccinations, because I don't support it. It's a lifestyle thing. Yeah, it's deeper than that. But I'm just saying, if enough people don't have the vaccinations, like is in the case now with England, with the UK, with this coronavirus coming, nobody ain't got no white people ain't got no vaccination against this disease. So this disease is coming and just having a field day here. So that's why they're saying, yo, we need enough people to have it and beat it, so that it slows it down, because it's like there's no more people to infect. We've got the immunity now. Do you understand what I'm saying? So to me, they created this thing, some mutation thing, and it got out of hand. That's my opinion, and it's just an opinion. I'm not an expert on fucking coronavirus or any other viruses. I'm an expert on my life and my own truth, and from what I see and from what I decipher from the media and my own research and whatnot, I think that they tried to use this virus to get people to vaccinate. I think it's going to come to a point, even though it's out of control for them, their plan was to let this thing infect the world, shut the world down, and then offer a vaccination and then offer it mandatory. Like who did I say tonight said, yo, it's mandatory now? Who is it? Is it France? France or one of them European countries now, it's now mandatory. You have to have the vaccination. But I was saying earlier, before that news broke today, that I feel like when they bust out this vaccination, they're going to charge for it. If you don't have the money to vaccinate yourself, like poor people and that, you're going to dead off. And I'm saying that not just at Corona. For me, Corona's just like we've opened the door, or they've opened the door. I think they got way more than Corona. I think Corona's just one trick in a bag full of tricks of these viruses and stuff that they're going to let out because they need people to vaccinate, because that's how they're going to inject us with all these nanobots and stuff. If people are no longer taking the injections and stuff, there's a deeper meaning to the injections than just Ross, what's it called? Than just like vaccinations. They're using that to put cameras in people and certain frequency blockers and what you call nanotechnology, robots that you can't see without a microscope, but they're robots. They can just switch cancer on in you, or if you got something hurting you, they can go and fix you from inside and that. This is what they're working with now. They're turning humans into robots and they're changing the DNA of the planet. So the last time that happened was, even though we don't go by the Bible, the truth of the story that the Bible is referring to in Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 to 7, when the Nephilim or the fallen angels or these extraterrestrials or aliens or reptilians, Anunnakis, whatever name you want to put on them, when they came down and started breeding with earth women, that changed the DNA of the planet for the worst. And I think now we've got, in principle, the same kind of things happening where they're trying to manipulate the DNA of the planet. And so for my opinion, it's something that they created themselves and it got out of hand. And whether it's the sun or 5G towers or whatever else that's mutated this thing, or Mother Nature, I can't give you that the details on that, but I'm leaning towards, myself is telling me that's what we're seeing.
So what do you think about everybody going crazy for toilet roll and pasta and things like this?
I was saying for a long time in my work and stuff that today people don't believe in magic. But if people from back in the day, like 1,000 years ago or something, could watch a TV, they would tell you, yo, that TV's magic. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't be able to explain to them how that TV works. They would tell you, yo, you're a wizard, or you're a witch, or a sorcerer, because that's magic. Because the person's inside the tele. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, in our world today, we forgot what magic is. That's why most people don't believe in magic. The media is the most biggest magic in our society today. They can make you think any way they want you to think about anyone they want you to think about. And I'm talking about that's the average person. That doesn't go for everyone, but that goes for the average 7 out of 10 people. Yeah. Whatever the media is feeding them, that's like, yo, and the media can influence your moods. It can say, yo, Jadefre is a troublemaker. He's a racist. Yeah, and promote that sort of shit to the point where most of society will swallow that. Yo, my man's a straight racist. Yeah, because of how the BBC or Sky News or CNN or Fox News or Hollywood or the music industry, how they subliminally and subtly, predictively program society. It's that deep. So to me, the media, because of the magic of the media and how much people are played into it, people don't understand in places like England and America, I can't just say America because America's massive, but in certain places in America and certain places in England, like TV is so fundamental to everybody's life to the point where I think it was one of the people who first made a TV.
It's not just TVs though.
No, it's not just TVs. No, come on, TV's secondary right now.
No,
Smartphones more powerful than telly right now.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but when I say TV, I'm generalizing it to all of them smart gadgets and stuff like that. Do you see what I'm saying? But the point I'm trying to get across is it's so fundamental to who we are, whether it's the tele for an old person or your smartphone, your iPhone or your Android phone, for people closer to our generation. That's so fundamental to who you are that it actually helps shape your reality and your view of the world. The things that you watch, the things that you read, the stuff that you listen to, the people you deem as an authority. Like if somebody said, Danielle, there's 12 planets, and you said, yo, I believe that person because that person's an authority.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But somebody else told you, yo, there's actually 14 planets, you know, but he's not an authority. So no one believes him. He's not backed by the media. He's not on the fucking media. You don't have the influence to say stuff like that. So I'm saying the media now is modern day magic. They can make images move. They can make images talk. It says in the Bible, in the last day when the Antichrist come, he will be able to make images move. He'll be able to make images talk. To me, to my brain, that's talking about the media.
Yeah.
Do you understand? We're already in that last days then. Because there's fucking humans on this flat screen telly, and now the screens are getting flatter and flatter. When I was born, a TV was like this. You had to lift that shit up with your whole self. Yeah. Nowadays, your TV's like slim as the phone.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But so I'm saying that shit's magic. Because I can't tell you how to do that. I could probably tell you, yo, they beam an image to a satellite and the satellite da-da-da, and this is in there. But really and truly, the small print, I can't tell you, that's magic. So how I'm linking this to what we're saying, the corona now, people have bought into this media thing, this radio, this Hollywood, this music industry, this humanism, this worshipping of celebrities, that's their Bible, that's their Quran, that's their Torah, that's their scripture. Yeah. So if they see on the news, yo, coronavirus, and these people are dying, and we're going to run out of this, yo, that's a mass panic. You're dealing with sheep. They've got a herd mentality. Yeah. Like you hit one sheep. I used to have sheep and goat as I grew up in the Caribbean. 100 sheep, 100 goat. I learned through my studies in the Bible that most of the prophets had to raise sheep and goat. I'm not trying to say I'm a prophet, but I'm saying that struck me because I used to say, why did they have to raise sheep and goat? You know why? Because sheep and goat are dumb and they've got a herd mentality. So if you can manage them and understand, how they work, you will actually start understanding humans and saying, humans are exactly the same. They're dumb. Do you know how much times I had to run behind goats and sheep going into other people's lands where they got carrots and stuff and yamming off their carrots, and I'm battering these goats to get out of the people's yard, and another one's turned in, and they're dumb. But humans are exactly the same. It's a sheep herd mentality. Not all of them, obviously. There's always an exception to the rule. Yeah. Do you understand? I'm talking about a good 80%, like the herd. I'm just talking about the herd.
I know.
So when one of that herd moves a certain way and another one of that herd sees, he wants to outdo him. This guy bought 2 packs of toilet roll. I'm about 4. This another guy sees. She says, he thinks he's got money. I'll show him. I'm going to buy 8 packs of toilet roll. So if anything locks down, I'm cool. Susie, yeah? Joe, he's going to buy 12. Another man's going to buy 12.
Well, I always have loads of
that's naturally for us. That's how you roll. But I'm saying people are doing it out of panic because they're bought into the fear. Yeah. Because remember, the media is fear because fear is control. Yeah. So if you can get people to fear, and look, I seen on Facebook earlier, look, since this corona shit happened, we ain't seen none of them terrorists. They're having the day off.
Or Brexit.
Yeah, they're having the fucking day off. All them terrorists, they maybe got corona and shit. How come we ain't seen that? Where's Al Qaeda and all these ISIL and that? These man must have like.
I'm sure they're still there.
They are, but where is it? That's how you know it's all a hoax, man. Yeah.
Corona's taken.
So let's see them then. Have they got coronas? But no. On a serious note, that's what happened. I think people have bought into the fear, and the media. I think it's an experiment in a certain way as well. You understand? Or it was an experiment, or you see, it's so many things, or it could be so many things. So I don't want to contradict myself, but what I'm saying is, I think that the panic and all of that is deliberate, because we're in a point now where England have announced a lockdown for the UK. Yeah, it's Boris now is come and gave national statement, the dickhead, talking about old people. Is it over 75?
70.
Over 70 or 70-ish, 75. Yeah, have to lock down for 4 months. There was one Asian man on the news that was saying he's a Sikh, he's been going to his Gurdwara, his place of worship, for the last 40 years since he's come here. This guy's in his 70s and that now, I think, 70s. And he's saying he's been going for 40 years every day to worship in his temple. They've closed the temple, yeah, and they're saying because everything's shutting down, innit? Restaurants, clubs, pubs. You know how English people like their pubs. Pubs is part of their religion, yeah. Pubs is closed down. Restaurants is closed down. Clubs is closed down, yeah. So and they've closed the Sikh temple. So the guy was on the news, on the local news, the Indian uncle. He was saying, yo, if he has to lock down for 4 months, he'll probably die. He says, when you're my age, you can't just sit down for 4 months. You know what I'm saying? When you're like retired, you have to keep your body going and that. Your body can just shut down. So imagine 4 months. That's like 16 weeks, you know. 16 weeks, you're telling my dad's in them category, in them ages. Do you understand? I had to ring him today to ask him if he's got enough food, if he's got enough gas and electric. That's just my thoughts, thinking, rah, man, that age category is my dad's age, you get me? And yo, so I'm saying, man, I think it's been planned, but I think the media, somehow they want people to panic. It's like, you know, before when they don't want people to panic, it's like at the moment, and I'm just speaking for England, for UK, it's like everybody was shutting their countries and stopping sports and all kind of stuff. And they just let us just tumble into this thing. Like, their plan was to let this virus infect enough people for us to build up a resilience. And what kind of bullshit's that? So they're responsible for all the people that died, yeah? I'll repeat that again. Boris Johnson is responsible for all the people that died, and the Conservative government and the whole government and the Queen and her blood clot family, all of them are responsible for every single person. What is it, 55 people that died so far? That died in the UK, because that's the strategy they wanted to take. They said, we're going to let it come and infect people, knowing that a certain amount of people won't have the fucking immunity or the genetic ability to fight the thing. Do you understand? And how's that not going to cause panic? Because I ain't ready to lose none of my family just to build up an immunity to some disease that ain't supposed to be here in the first place. Mm-hmm. I ain't ready to lose none of my family, all my friends, all my colleagues. Yeah, so to me, the media, they've used the media to get the public into a frenzy, and they've did it subtly. They've actually did it subtly and programmed all these gullible people, the gullible ones. This is what I call the herd, the herd mentality. All of them now are buying up toilet roll and Ross Clark, pasta, paracetamols.
They don't buy any
hand
fruit
sanitizer,
or anything that's going to make them feel
The woman
better.
in the shop the other day, Staffordshire, Burton, UK, they told us, that there's no hand sanitizer till the 22nd. They ain't going to restock till the 22nd. This is a Tesco, man. Yeah, it was the 14th. Yeah, that means for over a week, they're not even going to restock no hand sanitizer. Yeah. Today we was round the shops looking at where the toilet roll and the mask and they're all out. There's nothing. Do you understand? And this is just one place in the world. And they're trying to, and just by them trying to tell you to remain calm and that, it's deliberate. The media want people to go into a fear thing. And look, when they lock down the country, allegedly they're going to do it on Friday, weekend. It's going to be a lockdown thing where people are working from home and all types of shit, yeah? And this is the same martial law, the lockdown that man was saying, yo, we're going to have a police state soon, yeah? So half of me believes they created it, and the next half of me believes they ain't in control of this shit that they created. Whatever they was trying to do, they found out that they don't have full control over this shit. Yeah.
So, what do you think the 5G towers have got to do with corona?
Like that's what I'm saying. A few people told me their opinion was that the mutation happened because of the 5G towers. When they started putting up 5G towers, it made a mutation on the virus, coronavirus, and that's what's caused this COVID-19 to jump from animals into humans, because the Chinese have been eating bats and snails and shit for fucking thousands of years. This ain't the first time they've been doing that shit. They've been eating that shit for yonks. But the thing is, something's made a mutation. Do you understand? So it's jumped from something that's supposed to only affect human animals has now through consumption jumped into us humans and started jumping around from human to human. That's allegedly what they're saying anyway. Do you see what I'm saying? So like, I don't know what to say. Part of me, like, I just don't think it's that simple. I don't think it's in their control anymore. I think at first it was. It's something that they planned, and they tried to manipulate people into. It's like David Icke says, it's a problem, reaction, solution. The reaction, they anticipated the panic. They knew the world was gonna panic. I think England is an extreme example of it, because they didn't tell us absolutely fuck all. People were coming in the airport from all these places like Spain and Singapore and Thailand and China and Japan with no checks in the airport, no checks whatsoever. And they said when they was coming from all these places in their airports, there was people with masks checking them, name, where you're coming from, where you're going, checking their temperature, all types of shit. Yeah. And when you get to England, it's empty. You can just ball off. No one's tracking who's coming to the country, where you come from, how long you've been there. There was none of that. So to me, like, people are going to panic and say, hold on, what's going on here? They're going on like everything's normal. Football games are still running. Like that game, the Champions League game with Liverpool and Atletico Madrid. Yeah. Spain as a country was locked down before that game here in England. And in Spain, all their football was played with no fans because of Corona. You just see the two teams in the stadium. The stadium's empty. They're playing football. So that was locked off because of how Corona had licked that place, Barcelona and Real Madrid and shit. Yeah. And the team, Atletico Madrid, from Madrid, where all this Corona is come to England, and they've let 3,000 fans come with them to Liverpool to spread this shit around Merseyside, going from pub to pub and shit, because you know that's football culture. Yeah. Do you understand? And this was like last week. Now look at the country. Now they're telling us there might be 50,000 people. Last week it was 10,000 people. Now it's 50,000 people, 55 dead. Do you understand? So to me, they deliberately wanted to cause a panic. I think the next step is them introducing a vaccination that they've already had for a long fucking time, and all of the members of the herd, the sheeple, will go out and they will die to get that. They will fight to get that vaccination. Who's got money will pay for it. Rich people will pay and have it to have the vaccination, and other people will try their best to have it. And I think it's all a hoax, man. And I'll never take no vaccination for nothing. I sit down here today, normal as fuck, when they're telling me the shit's all around me and stuff. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care, man. Like, I think they're going to come with a vaccination thing, and I think it's to do with people started seeing through the vaccination thing, especially in the UK and Europe. Yes, they stopped, and I'm talking about regular white folks stopped having vaccinations, and I think that this corona thing is an attempt to get people to believe in vaccinations again. Because right now, white people are so everyone's prang, but I'm saying white people are so prang about this fucking coronavirus. I heard a man in the petrol station today when I went to work early in the morning. The man was in the petrol station saying he's terrified. Yeah, he looked like a 45-year-old, maybe 50-year-old white man, truck driver, and he's having a random kind of conversation with the woman at the till, saying, "Listen, it's terrifying to think where this could go, and this could be in the world for a year and whatnot." You understand? I think it's deliberate, and I think when they bust that vaccination, most of the sheep will have it, and I think I don't trust no vaccination coming from them, put it that way.
And what's this, the fall of 6,000 years of racism?
Alright, so there's a prophecy among black people, Asian black people, that when the white man appears on the earth, he's going to last only for 6,000 years, because nature's only going to let him tear up and devastate and destroy creation. That's why his favourite word is recreation. Creation. So he's only going to have 6,000 years, be allowed to do that for 6,000 years before the universe says, nah, enough. We give you 6,000 years, and instead of you turn yourself around and start repenting and doing good, you fuck around and destroy the planet. So it was always predicted by me in my works, especially in Treasures in the Sun, that white racism, supremacy has been running for 6,000 years, especially for the last 2,000 years. And from the year 2004, their time was up. And the white world, in terms of the West, Europe, England, the UK, Italy and the Vatican, America and the White House and the Pentagon, Russia, fucking the Arabians, Iran, Iraq, Syria, all of these places of white racism power in all of its different forms will start to fight with each other and fight against the times, and they'll start to lose power and they'll start to kill each other. And to me, when I see this coronavirus, it's like, I didn't see that part, but it's like I was saying, things have backfired for them. It's like, it's now, because it started being reported since, I think it was last year, on social media and on YouTube, that Caucasian people were not replacing themselves. And again, this is not me with no racist shit. This is a fact. You can Google it, throw it in your search engines, and apparently or allegedly, white people are not replacing themselves, which means for a population to replace itself, each woman needs to be having 2 children or 2.5 children. So let's say 2 or 3 children, and that means that population will keep growing because there's more births than deaths. You see where I'm going with this? Okay, so when you get to Europe and stuff, and this culture that we have now, where they've made their women like men with the same rights as men, so now you get more women that don't want to have children. They're like, yo, I don't ever want to have a fucking child. I want to work and have a career and rare. Do you understand? So fucking, it's come to the point now. That's just one factor. Another factor is how many white men are turning gay. Do you understand? I won't be surprised if they told me 50% of white geezers are gay. 50%. Half them niggas is gay. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of effeminizing because they are effeminate men from Rome and Greece with the homosexuality thing. So that's killing the population as well, because man are choosing to sleep with man rather than to regenerate their own communities and population and stuff, and which is another un-African thing. We don't get down like that.
But then again, sorry to cut there, I do see a lot of mixed race.
Yeah, because we're in a white man's world.
Or black guys being gay. It's not just.
But you can't tell me that you've seen a mixed race person that's into his black culture that's gay. That mixed race person that you've seen gay, you might as well say he's white. And the same goes. The same goes with any black man that's gay. You'll never find a comedian or a spiritualist telling you he's gay. You'll only find a black man that's telling you, yeah, I'm a Christian and I'm gay. Probably got a cross around his neck. So I'm saying, you're not seeing. What I'm saying to you is, because we're in a white man's world that accepts homosexuality, like it's legal in England, it's legal in America, there's no repercussions for it. Yeah. So of course now you've got black guys that are born into this system that have no clue about the system that they supposed to be standing for and the culture that they come from. None of that shit matters, because they've made the world now a world where none of that shit matters. The only thing that matters is we live in this society, and this society says this. So they've never questioned, hold on, how, if people in Egypt and stuff never lived like that, said, hold on, that's fucked up. Because if you be homosexual and stuff, it's going to be backward, meaning that it's going to work against society because we're not going to replace ourselves in that. And for us, it's a sacred thing. It's not just a pleasure thing where I want to lie down with a woman. I've got a responsibility with it where I have to replace myself and she has to replace herself. So that when me and her are gone, she might be the senator, I might be the governor. We're going to need someone else to be the senator and the governor. So we're going to need to keep our society healthy so that all these roles can keep being replaced. Do you understand? And that's how it was with our gods too. Amun-Ra wasn't just one man. It was a seat, like the prime minister. So when the first Amun-Ra was dead, then another person would sit on that seat and become Amun-Ra. And the same with Isis. Oh, she's the Isis today. Wasn't the same as the Isises 3,000 years ago. There might have been 50 Isises that sat on that seat called Isis. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm saying in this society that we're in today, yeah, more and more and more black people are becoming homosexuals. There's loads of black women now, especially in America, that wholeheartedly embrace this fucking slut culture, this Barbie doll, Nicki Minaj, bisexual, sleep with women, sleep with men. That shit is now being normalized in black culture, but it's not from our culture. Like, you can't go to Africa and leave Kemet out of it. Go to West Africa, Ghana, or go to South Africa to the Zulus and show me some Zulu system with Batiman, or no fucking Ghanaian system with Batiman, or no fucking Sudanese system with Batiman. You got to go to white people to show me that. So if we're living in a white world where the white man rules everything and tells you what's legal and what's not legal, then of course you're going to have corrupt people being born that don't even know who they are. So mixed race people, most of them, they don't know who they are. And black people who were born in the West, most of them, well, I don't know if it's most nowadays, but a lot of them don't know who they are. I consider myself lucky to have the upbringing that I had, to be able to know who the fuck I am and what my culture means to the progress of humanity. Meaning that I know what black people contributed to the world as to why we can sit down and watch TV, drive cars, fly in planes, all the stuff that white people take credit for. I know that came from black people. So therefore, if I'm living in a white man's world where he's trying to tell me, yo, I'm the best because I did this and I did that, and I know deep down, you never did that. You stole that from us. So that gives me a different perspective than someone who doesn't know that, who only thinks, bastard, black people never did nothing. White people did everything. White people say jump, I'ma jump. White people say go left, I'ma go left. They say go right, I'ma go right. Homosexuality is legal, yeah, I'm gonna try it. They're not a black person. They're somebody that's lost to themselves and in somebody else's system. That's like if I took you to Iran, they'd have a culture. Do you understand? But if I took you away from Iran and you didn't know nothing about Iran, and I put you in a culture that's totally opposite to Iran, like Iran don't like them motherfuckers, Greece, yeah, and you come back to Iran as a Greek, Iran's going to say, yo, you're lost, mate. You don't know who you are. They're going to look at you and think, yeah, she can't really represent us because she don't even know about the history of Persia or nothing. But it's the same for black people when you see them lost like that. They don't really represent black people. They represent what you call a Negro, which is the same word as necro, meaning dead. They're dead to themselves. That's why they can be called nigger. You're a necro. You don't know who you are, where you come from, what you've contributed to society. You really believe you've been a slave all the time. And that's nothing else. You ain't been other than that. So to me, like I was saying with the fear thing, and because what was the last question you asked me, the point that you was making? Remind me.
Gosh. The fall of the 6,000 years.
Yes. So it goes back to a Babylonian tablet of Enki. And Enki and Enlil, the two sons of the Most High, had a rivalry. And the Project Earth, because you got to look at it like this. If I spell the word to you, planet, yeah, it's got P-L-A-N, plan.
Yeah.
And then it's got two letters left. Them two letters left is E-T,
Yeah.
or extraterrestrial. So really this planet, or planet E-T, is an E-T plan. Is an extraterrestrial plan. Let me tell you this. As mad as that sounds, people who've never delved into that sort of information, there's a Babylonian tablet that was found, or I should say a Sumerian tablet that was found, that predates the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran, and all of them religious nonsense, which is really the source of all of them religious nonsenses. But listen, on that tablet, it talks about a group of extraterrestrial beings who came down to the planet Earth and hybridized a new form of hominid. What that means in everyday terms is they came to the planet and they made their own type of human. There was already humans here. But what they did is say, okay, we need somebody to do our work, because they had enough work to do. We need somebody to do our work. We don't want to do it. So what we're going to do, all these humans we see here, or these hominids, these kind of subhumans, we're going to pick the best group and we're going to kind of upgrade them. So they picked the Homo erectus, which means the upright human, which was the pygmies and the Tarites, them little short Africans. They picked them and they manipulated their chromosomes and stuff and mixed their own chromosomes with them pygmies. And that's how you get the black people of today, like myself, or people who were mixed with the Anunnakis who came down, the midget people and the Anunnakis. They mixed the DNA and today we call them Homo sapiens. Okay? But on that tablet, it talks about a rivalry between two of these extraterrestrials who are actually the two sons of the main extraterrestrial who you call God. So God had two sons, and God's name in this tablet is Anu, which means the heavenly one. Yeah, which is the same word that's used in Egypt, in Heliopolis, which is really called Anu, the city of the sun. Okay. But anyway, these two sons, one was called Enki and one was called Enlil. The one that was called Enki was the one who was the head of the project at first, and he was the older brother, but he got took off the project. So because he got took off the project, because he violated, I could go into the details of it, but I don't have enough time. Yeah, but because he violated, he got took off the project. And when he got took off the project, his younger brother Enlil got given the command of this project on Earth of making these hybrid humans. So what Enki did now, because his nature was evil at the time, he started working with the reptilians because they loved him, because he was half reptilian himself. Story is very complicated. Anyway, he started working with these alpha draconian reptilians and they loved him and his ideas. But anyway, he conjured up a plan to steal what's called the Tablet of Destinies. And to put it in layman terms, that was the most important thing and the most powerful thing that them aliens, that these gods had. And whoever one of them had control of that would have control of the whole projects on Earth, meaning the coming and going of all of these aliens from Earth. That was like mission control shit. So anyway, Enki got that stolen. He got the demon to steal that Tablet of Destinies, the Akasha records, from his brother Enlil. And he had a deal with the demon that when he steals this tablet, the demon brings the tablet to him and they will cast a spell on all of Enlil's humans, because Enki had his humans and Enlil had his humans. So Enki's now got this demon to steal the tablets and said, yo, when you get it, cast a spell on them motherfuckers. And we're going to cast a spell on these humans, and that would maim them. Meaning, we all had 9 senses. We had all these 5 senses we have: hearing, seeing, touch, smell. What's the other one?
Hearing.
Taste. Yeah. Yeah. 5 senses. And then you had 4 extra ones. You had intuition, clairvoyance, psychometry, and telepathy. But when the spell was cast, it locks off one side of your brain. So you're only left with 5 senses. You're only left with your cognitive side of your brain, or your left brain thinking. But what happened, this demon reneged. When he stole the Tablet of Destinies, he said, fuck Enki. He ain't going to take the tablet to Enki. So my man kept the tablet for himself. And he was the most powerful being for that time when he kept that tablet. And the Bible don't start at the start. When you're talking about Lucifer or Satan, he's not the first. That's why he's called the Prince of Darkness. So this demon that I'm talking about is actually the devil's father, or the devil's dad. And his name was Tarnush, or Humbaba. And he's the one that stole the Tablet of Destinies from Enlil and made himself the most supreme deity, and had to be challenged, and that had to be took off him. But not before. Instead of just casting a spell on Enlil's humans, he cast a spell on all of us. So he cast a spell on all of the indigenous people of the planet, Enki's and Enlil's seed. Do you understand? So Ishmaelites and Israelites, he cast the spell over all of us. And that happened 6,000 years ago in 4,000 BC, as to why the black men fell from grace, because the four higher senses that you relied on to build stuff like the pyramids and stuff is gone. You understand? And that's how that's why that rivalry is so significant to the story. A spell was cast on people. Now we're in a stage where a lot of children are being born with their senses back intact, and also that's where all of the stories of superheroes and stuff come from, with Marvel and DC Comics and stuff. They were privy to this information I was just sharing with you before.
One for you. Let me find a good one. So, what's this about? Civil War.
Alright, so the spell of sleep was broken in 2004 by a being sent to the planet known as Dr. Malachi Z. York. Anyway, to repeat that question, what you just said there.
Yeah.
Say it again.
The Civil War in
Okay, so this coronavirus is apparently in all the places where there's supposed to be thousands and thousands of sealed indictments, because there's a story going around that there's an alliance of politics, of politicians and US military industrial complex people and corporate people and business people who are actually against the Illuminati of the Amber Light. They're against the fucking Satanists and that. And for a long time they've been working to shut them down and expose them. I myself have talked about this before. So it's supposed to be a case now where they've actually got the upper hand, yeah? But this goes back to, if you know your history and you're fucking with the history of the British monarchs and that, it comes to a time when they had what's called the War of the Roses, where the royal family actually had a war in their own self, where two sides of the family split, and they was like, yo, we're split because everyone wants to be the king. So it's like a case of, if you're going to be the queen next, I'm the next in line after you. So if I kill you, I can be king. So you had a lot of that going on, people killing each other and stuff, family, Mary Queen of Scots getting her head chopped off and all of this. But you had what's called the War of the Roses, and you had the House of Tudor and the House of Lancaster. And I think, the House of Tudor and the House of Lancaster. And the House of Tudor won, the Tudors. And the queen that we have today comes out of them Tudors and stuff. That House of Windsor comes out of them Tudors and that. Do you understand? But there's other royals who their side of the family never made it. They're still royal, but you don't hear about them today because a lot of them got wiped out. Do you understand what I'm saying? But my point is that war never ended just because one family won. That war's still going on now. And it carried over into politics. And that's why you have certain people with this conservative and fucking Labour thing, or conservatives and Democrats. Do you understand? Republican and Democrats, because you've got two sides in this same family feud war. So you have the red bloods and you have the blue bloods. So you have the politicians with the red ties and you have the politicians with the blue ties. And you have some politicians with the red tie with blue patterns on it, where you know their bloods are mixed. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this war is still going on. So I'm saying with the coronavirus, apparently when they created this coronavirus, the bad Illuminati, to spread it on the world, the good side got wind of it, which is supposed to be Donald Trump or not, got wind of it and just said, okay, let's not show our cards. Let's just play with them and let them think we don't know. And so apparently now they've used it to shut down, I'm talking about the good side, have used it to their advantage to lock down the whole world, shut down the whole world, and start arresting a lot of these crooked politicians who are Satanists, Luciferians, paedophiles, they're child sex traffickers. It's got to do with Epstein and Weinstein and Pizzagate. And apparently them Epstein and Weinstein, they both started spilling the beans because they was in so much shit. Yeah, they got deals. Said, listen, if you start spilling the beans of how big this thing is and who's involved, we'll secretly sneak you out and not kill you. So they didn't kill Epstein. They sneaked him off that island because he started spilling the beans, and a lot of this stuff and indictments come from what he told the motherfuckers. And the same thing happened with Weinstein the other day. He was supposed to get 50 odd years. He only got 20 something years. That means he started speaking, because 30 years is missing from his shit. That means a lot of these indictments that are going to start coming in Hollywood and this, that, the other, is to do with them same indictments. Now, there's been a lot additional information behind that, that a lot of these people that are being accused of having a corona, like the Pope, it came on Facebook, the Pope had corona. Whether he's got it or not, there was a news flash on Facebook that said the Pope had corona, Tom Hanks got corona. I just seen one tonight, Idris Elba got corona. All these stars, Hollywood stars, football players, basketball players, musicians, like the cabal is massive. So what I'm saying is allegedly, and I say allegedly, it's not what the media are selling us. They're trying to tell us these people have got corona and they're self-isolating and shut down and that. But there's another side that are saying it's bigger than that. They're just using that as a smokescreen, because a lot of the stuff is happening, as I've been saying, with the War of the Roses and shit, and a lot of these crooked ass politicians and paedophiles and monsters and demons in the flesh are getting backed up and cornered and having their finances frozen, their businesses shut. So you're seeing all these airlines fuck up and all these businesses close down and stuff. Like, allegedly it's all linked. So that's why I made a note of the sealed indictments, because apparently there's supposed to be something like, 30,000 sealed indictments of all these all over the world, from Saudi Arabia to England to America to Australia to everywhere, China and stuff. And it's all these corporate CEO people and banker people and stuff. So there is a case, there is a crowd of people that think that this coronavirus isn't no virus thing. It's actually a smokescreen used because the world is being reset. The old world currency, the old world order, all the money they stole off indigenous people, black people and Indian people and Australian people and whatnot. It's like it's time to pay up in it. So it's like karma. So it's like a lot of them are under pressure right now, and because the world can't really take that kind of information, they're trying to say that it's being done undercover and stuff. I'm not saying it's totally true, but I put that in the notes to say I want to talk through that, just to explain for people who don't really know what's going on with that. And the Nazira law and the Jazeera law, I believe, is two laws that was passed in 2000 in US Congress, but was buried, kept from the people, because it's supposed to activate all the stuff that Nikola Tesla came to bless the world with, and they kept back from us and kept for themselves, like free energy technology and medical cures for certain diseases like cancers and AIDS. And I'm talking like 6,000 cures and shit, and free energy, so we won't be worrying about gas and electric and petrol and all this stuff. And that's the stuff that really sucks us, because if we didn't have to concern ourselves with gas, electric, heating, petrol for your car, most of your money you could save and actually do the things that you wanted to do in life. But they knew this from long time, from Nikola Tesla's days, from the 20s, when he was making cars that were running off water and shit. And he's the reason why we can even have free energy and stuff. And when I say he's the reason, I mean he rediscovered the natural energy grid of the world that the Egyptians had so beautifully mastered with their pyramids and stuff. When he went and seen the pyramids and stuff, it clocked to him. He says, this is a place where they harness energy. He went back to the States and he created the exact same thing with his, what's it called? I keep forgetting the fucking name of this tower. Is it Wellendorf Tower or whatever the tower is? But he created the same thing with the same principle and the same electromagnetic frequency, and discovered that there was electric in the air all around us and you can have it for free. And we're still here paying British Gas and whoever else all of this money, Npower and whoever else, all of this money for stuff that, you know what I mean? And it's making wars. People are fighting over oil and all types of shit. Yeah, man. So I do believe there's something in that. I can't tell you how much of it's true, you know what I mean? But I really believe that we are going in that direction, whether it comes from some kind of alliance of good Illuminati guys from American politics and wherever else. I don't know if I can really have faith in that part of it, but I definitely believe that that's where the world will end up anyway. Whoever brings us there, or however we get there, yeah, I believe that all of that shit's getting rooted out, and I believe the coronavirus is doing what it's supposed to do, because I believe Mother Nature's in control and always was, always will be. You know what I mean? Yeah, amen. Is there anything else?
I can't think of any other questions right now off the top of my head, unless there's anything you want to
Let me
add.
have a look. Yeah, I definitely believe, for the ending, I'm going to say, yeah, that I believe that humans own the growth of consciousness that humanity's experiencing is changing our reality, and largely unconsciously, like without realizing. I don't think humans realize how much they're changing their own reality. So that's why I don't go into the flat earth stuff and stuff like that, because I believe that perception shapes reality. So if enough people believe the world's a triangle, then the world's a triangle. If enough people will project the belief that the land is water and the water is land, then the shit will change to that. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? So I think that in these days and times, you have to develop a thick skin, but don't lose your spirituality, and don't be afraid to question everything. Do you understand? Even the stuff that you've been raised on, because we're in such a precarious time where you can't just trust your eyes anymore. You have to see with something deeper than just your eyes. You have to see with reason and logic and scrutiny and your inner eye. Just, you have to see from within, man, because I can't tell you how bad it's going to get. I know this is just the beginning. They might have 10 more coronas after this. Yeah, it says they were saying scientists are baffled as to how this virus is not infecting black people in the same kind of way. What that means, I was having a discussion with my mum. It means that they're looking at black people to find a vaccine, because in science, if you got any kind of virus, the first thing you're going to do to make a cure is find the people who are immune to the virus. That goes with any virus. That's just science. So if you got a virus, you have to find the people or the animals that are immune to it. And then when you find them animals, you take antibodies from them. You take their stuff, their genetic material, and you find the antibodies in that material that cancels out the fucking virus. Do you understand? So in that case, us black people, we're the fucking material. They have to study us now. They have to say, well, hold on, is it melanin that makes it not capable of really having the same kind of success rate in black people as it does in fucking white folks? Do you understand? So you're under the microscope right now, you black people. Like, what you eat, your cultural, your lifestyle choices, genetically they're studying you again for the reason of corona, to come up with a vaccine. Like I said, that maybe they've already come up with the fucking vaccine. And that's why I say it's dangerous as well, because I don't trust them kind of people to do that, because they will rather make one that just infects black people alone. Do you get me? And I don't trust in the power of them, because they don't have no power over my gods. But what I'm saying still, I'm aware of the fact that them kind of evil people, that's how they work, man. They get kicks out of doing shit like that. They're sick people. You get me? So, yeah, is there anything else I wanted to end on? And also, I think that we're on the doorstep of learning what the true nature of reality is, what's really inside the black holes, whether black holes are real or just theories. Well, they're not theories anymore, but I'm talking about, we're at the stage now where we can develop the technology to go and have a look, rather than just make up a fucking mathematical model. We can go and have a look, because the model's been proven. So now we need to send some people through one of them black holes, send some of them tamos through there, yeah, and let them feed back to us what's going on. But I think we're on the doorstep of finding out what the true nature of reality is, and we're going back to the beginning. As it was in the beginning, so it shall be in the end. I think we're on more of that shit. And I think the more the Illuminati try and control people's perception is where they fuck up, because there's just no way for them to control people's perception. They always try and control the way you think, because if they control the way you think, they control the way you act. Anyone who controls your thoughts controls your actions. Yeah? So I think it's just a giant sieve right now. The herd, it's not looking good for them. But for the people that are trying to stay woke, and not just stay woke, but act on being awoke, because all this shit is a dream. And we're just the people that are awake in this dream, awake enough to realize that this is a fucking dream, and it's only when you die that you wake up and think, bastard, that dream there was peak. I really believe that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's where my research goes. Like, this shit here's a dream. That's why they say when you start realizing stuff, they call you woke. You woke up. You understand? Because all these niggas is sleeping, man. It's real like that. So I think I've spoke enough. I just wanted to elaborate a bit more on this coronavirus shit, man. Don't play into the fear of it. Of course, keep your distance from certain people, disease carriers and stuff. But just keep yourself to yourself. But don't play into the fear of it. Try and think about what you can do to kind of fortify yourself from feeding into the bullshit of it, like the panic buying and the fear, thinking about fearful stuff and running out of food, and try and like stock up on your compassion for your fellow man and for your neighbour and for the old lady down the street. I don't care if they're black, white or otherwise. If they're good people, stock up on compassion for them. Do you understand? Because I really believe it's them bundles of compassion is the only thing that's going to survive what humanity is about to go through. It's not about no strength or guns or none of that stuff. It's about the compassion that you carry in your heart, that you can align with the universe and Mother Nature to protect yourself and your loved ones and the vulnerable. With that, have a good night. You know what I'm saying? Gargle some hot salt water. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is that makes you feel normal and not buy into the fear. My advice is go and do that, and go and give reverence to the ancestors and to the old gods. Peace. Hotep.